Hey, 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 welcome back. Welcome back to the Scorpio channel. Thank you for waiting. I decided to jump on a few minutes early just because I noticed someone was waiting. So I'm sorry I haven't been on, but I've been so busy trying to get my coaching program together that I actually spaced out the I was supposed to be on here. Hey, Siska. I was supposed to be on here at 2:30 today and I completely spaced it out because I have been really working hard on my shadow coaching program. I'm really excited about this. It's really a life coaching, not just shadow coaching, because a lot of times once we heal, then there's a lot of empty space, and then you have to find the things that you're good at, the things that you're passionate about. A lot of times if we've been traumatized, we haven't done that. We haven't created ourselves. So it's actually three-part system, which is not just about healing the effects of psychic trauma, and psychic trauma is psychological and emotional trauma, but it's also about finding your soul's path, like understanding that there's a bigger reason to why we're down here. And the bigger reason is to be the expression of love through connecting. Oh, thank you. You know what? Again, trying to shape up a little bit. I mean, it's hard to stay present, and it's hard to be consistent, and it's hard to do it all at the same time, especially when you're bombarded with a lot of different things. You forget you know how people perceive us. Hey, so for those of you that are new to my channel, hey, Maisie, I think I said your name right. I hope I did. My name is Laura, and I'm going to do a general message for you. Got it, Scorpio. Know that energy is fluid, roles could be reversed. You know the deal. Interpret the message as it best resonates with you. But it's also like, understand the message always goes to the person that needs to hear the reading. That's how the universe works. So if you've been like, oh, this freaking person, you know, um, and you're really triggered and you're feeling like you're ruminating over the same situation that happened because you can't wrap your head around why they do what they do, well, then the message is for you because you're holding on to that. And the universe always brings you what you need to help you heal. And healing is seeing a different perception of yourself, of the situation. See, there's many different realities that play out at one time. Your level of consciousness depends on your core beliefs, and your core beliefs are determined by the experiences that you live. So a lot of times when we're living experiences that are more in alignment with the trauma that we experience. So you're like, oh, it's the same karmic theme. Like you're stuck in a karmic loop. Karmic loop is just the same karmic experience, the same karmic theme, which either is telling you that it's keeping you in a place of fear because it's making you feel inadequate, it's making you feel not good enough, it's making you feel, obviously an emotion that's derived from fear, but it's always in a place of lack. And so we know that that the universe is abundant, and the universe is inside of you. You're made up of the universe. And so the universe is also known as spirit. So our intuitive abilities, really come from the higher self, and the higher self is a God part of self that we're all connected to. So when something resonates with you, you're like, yeah, that resonates. And when it doesn't, you're like, no. You know what I mean? It's a feeling. It's a feeling. It doesn't mean that you don't logic it. The problem is when we have spiritual blocks, we over logic and we get away from the higher self. We begin to, again, react from those past experiences that have conditioned you. Conditioned you again because your environment creates your reality. The problem is that your reality is going to create the habits and the behaviorisms that shut your DNA on and off. So again, inherited diseases is only 5%. We learned that in holistic health school. However, I'm trying to create the environment in this damn friggin' stick. It's like, stay still. Um, that our environment is continuously always telling us who we are, and that's the problem. So if people are telling us who we are, we don't really know who we are, and then we're always compensating and creating masks, and we don't mean to, but we want to fit in. We're not really aware, and there's no real spiritual guidance. We just know what we see and what we're living and what our reality is, and a lot of times the reality is not the best version of ourselves. The best version would be someone that was financially abundant and emotionally abundant, getting their needs met. And again, everyone's needs are different. So be able to create your heaven on earth per se. And we can do that. But we have to evolve into the energies of unconditional love. However, the shadow part of self is just parts of ourselves that we disconnected from. And disconnect means we know what happened, but we don't really have a feeling towards what happened. And there's pieces of what happened that are fragmented that we don't remember. So what happens is that we then again live from those traumas. So we have to integrate the spiritual lesson. And so understanding how we contribute to the imbalances, we can say, we always do anyway, within the inner child part of the reading, like what a person, like again, what their spiritual block is, what created it. The problem is that we don't want to get caught up in what created it. We can ruminate on what created it. Because again, this person did this. This person made me feel. This person was supposed to show up for me. This person, where Spirit says, again, everything's in divine order, even the things that seem like they're not. And it's because, again, life isn't perfect. Your job is to evolve back into the energy of unconditional love, which isn't perfect. Sometimes unconditional love is sloppy. Sometimes it's anger. Sometimes it's resentful. Sometimes it's all different emotions. And so we are an expression, to be the expression of love. And so these karmic relationships all hold a purpose. But that purpose is not so that you live happily ever after with John Smith or Mary Kay or whatever. It's more or less to be the expression of love through learning. We learn through the people and the situations. And so know that everybody can create the heaven on earth. No, because everyone has spirit inside of them. Everyone's made up of the universe. And that's why living in alignment with universal laws and spiritual laws are your roadmap. But a lot of people don't know that. They don't know how to embody that. So hopefully you'll learn a lot more than just, will this person come back? You'll understand again why they do what they do, why you do what you do, what you need to integrate the spiritual lesson. And a lot of times once you integrate the spiritual lesson, you're not even attracted to the person anymore. You're like looking at them like, I saw like a funny meme, and it was of a kitten that said the crush before, and the kitten is all like nice, and then the crush after, like when you see them for who they are. And the cat was like coughing up a hairball. It was like the kitten was like because you don't know what you saw in them. You saw the best version of them, but they were not that. Again, and that's unconditional love. When we choose to see someone, but still love them. Now, again, if you want to enter into winning a free reading with me, know that, again, the reading is always going to have a therapy style to it. And, like the video, subscribe to the channel, write the word of the video in your comment bar. The word of the video is always on the first card that I pull out. It's the underlining energy that tells us why everyone's doing what they're doing. Lately, I've been pulling two just to dive a little bit deeper. But you only have to write one. And if you forget it, it'll be in the comment bar. Not in the comment bar, in the description box, along with all other important information. And you can always send me an email telling me what you want to talk about, what spiritually um, you would like to integrate. I like to do that as well. Okay, so the word of the video is fear. And that's why we pull a little bit more, because fear, I feel like the person that we've been dealing with lately, well, all people that have spiritual blocks have fear. It's again, it's a perception. And it doesn't mean that it wasn't a reality at one point, but it's not, doesn't need to be our permanent reality. See, you're always able to shape shift your reality. So again, but if we're pulling fear, it means that the person hasn't learned. And that means that always coming from a lower state of consciousness. So you're going to see a lot of bad behaviorisms, and you're going to be triggered. And all those triggers tells us what you need healing in. And so again, once you heal certain things, you will integrate the spiritual lesson. Stuck. So you're in separation from someone that I feel like is either in a connection with someone or just got out of a connection with somebody, and they're still holding on to the energy of that past someone and everything that was drilled into that person's head. So it's almost like they never left that situation. So either they haven't left yet or they just left, but it's the state of consciousness. Again, we're only in physical form to learn and to manifest, right? So it's the thoughts that we think, the emotions that we have that make us take action. So this person's stuck because they're reflecting on past experiences. So I feel like you might be someone that's like, I always have to pay for someone else's karma. I literally just felt that. Like I always feel like I always gotta pay. And that could be like a wound. Again, and that happens from when wounded people project and they hurt. And they hurt the people that come into their life. And it doesn't mean, believe it or not, that they don't love you. It actually means that they love you and they're comfortable, so comfortable with you. Otherwise, these people wear masks. You know what I mean? Like they're not going to show that part of themselves. No one's going to buy them. You know, it's like when I say buy them, but it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like no one's going to pick them. You know, no, they create the facade. But the problem is when this person gets comfortable, you see that they're needy. You see that they're codependent. And that's from, again, a person that hasn't created themselves. Because when we know, when we're solid with ourselves, it's we know who we are. And we know who we are because we've lived experiences outside of what our parents told us, what our culture told us. You know, we can think outside the box. So again, it tells us about a person. Again, but you're going to see ugliness, like ugly behaviorisms, like where the person can't get out of their own way. You're like, why? They deliberately do shit. They deliberately do it. Like, no, 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 no. If it's my birthday, you know, there's going to be a problem. If there's this, there's that. If there's this. So again, I feel like a lot of overstimulation. This person tends to have a problem showing up. They have avoidant issues. Again, fear. So when again we're coming from the lower state of consciousness, but we're looking at the behaviorisms and we're looking at it how it's identified to you. What did it look like? Again, that the person avoided, that the person like again it was impossible to be in a relationship with them. This person holds on to shame. And so you again may also at one point have held on to shame, and that's again put onto us from the environment. When children experience shame, is that someone did that to them. Otherwise, they don't know any better. They're like, it was a mistake. It's like, oh, it's okay that it was a mistake. Try not to do it again. Compared to, what the hell's wrong with you? There's something wrong with you. You know that there's something wrong with you? Go to your room. I don't want to see your face. It's again, very different, right? So again, doesn't necessarily mean that the person grew up where they were beaten, but it was that. And you can identify. Again, so there's this energetic connection. So understand you're just holding on to like that. You may not be thinking it, but those energies are still held within your body because you haven't integrated the spiritual lesson. And that means fully embodying the new consciousness. And that's through doing something different. And this person also, they are lost because they're stuck in a place of fear. So fear goes to fear. So you'll be like, why did I attract this person? And Spirit says, well, there's only two energies, love and fear. Love is me. I'm unconditional love. That's really who you are. When you're born, you don't have like perceptions of anything. Like, again, you don't have, that person should look this way. This person is not like, we think everything's perfect when we're a baby. We're not prejudiced. We haven't been taught. We haven't been jaded by the world. We have an inherited karma, an ancestral karma, and all that jazz. So understand, it's again, the shame is taught. And so, but I feel like you've gotten to a place within your life that you just are like, I'm intolerant of it. It's like, and what happens is I feel like it gets stuck in anger. And it brings up a lot of negativity within me where then I feel stuck. But it's like, again, but it makes me sad because I do care about this person. But they don't show me anything. It's like I always get that. And Spirit says, yeah, because, you have trust issues, both of you. Again, it's from the environment. So this person's prideful. Again, because they know that you see it as betrayal. But understand this person freezes and they have go disconnection, and disassociation happens from trauma again when we have gone through severe trauma. So anything can activate this, like excitement. Oh, I'm excited. I love this person. I'm so attracted to this person. Foot in the mouth. Wouldn't you know the car won't start now. Wouldn't you know, like everything, there's a problem. There's always a problem. Overstimulation. This is how a person gets in their own way. They begin because they overthought. Too much thinking, too much emotion causes overstimulation. Is where the reactionary behavior comes into play. Person's reactionary because they got triggered. But that trigger doesn't necessarily mean it was anything that you were doing in the present moment. It was that you meant to trigger this person. You did something, but what you did was you weren't aware. And so this means that the person's not present a lot. Disassociation means that's where fragmentation comes from. It's like, I don't remember parts of the experience, the trauma. I just know how it made me feel. So again, where I feel like this energy, disassociation, is when now we're going to see a person that is avoidant. We're going to see a person because they're going to feel continually inadequate. So, I mean, that's really, it's that. And the person then compensates by being self-righteous because you'll be like, okay, well, this sounds really insecure, but why was the person an ass? Where they were self-righteous. Because again, they're obsessed. And so again, if they have feelings, they become obsessed, but there's a feeling of, part of the obsession is, I don't really believe I can have it. And that's, it's unconscious. It's not like the person's aware of it, because that's what happens with fragmentation and disassociation. It's like, again, you forget aspects of. So the person, we don't really understand as much from, the physical and energetic perception of trauma. But unfortunately, if a person grew up with trauma and they can continue to create the same types of experiences, there's a belief now that they can't have love because they've embodied that. It's what they felt growing up. again in that environment, and then they brought it into every single connection, not realizing that they've created a lot of habits and behaviorisms that are just self-sabotaging. So when we see this, it's almost like that person needs like help. They need to work with someone, and they need to work with someone because again there's deep trauma, and that could be sexual. They were might have been raped. They might have been again some horrific trauma where it's again it just betrayal keeps playing out, and this person either gets betrayed and like betrays like again by not showing up, by being avoidant, and then understand we haven't even pulled for the addictions and everything, which we're going to see that, I guarantee it. So because avoidance is that it's like I can't, they don't know how. That's why I said it's like they've adapted to certain habits and behaviorisms to create balance in their life because life wouldn't work otherwise. And so so again, their life, it looks like a lot of lies and illusions. When people get to really know it, they get disgusted. And when people get disgusted, well, that's when they tend to betray because they feel like it's you betrayed me. So now I'm going to betray you. So it's almost like this person continually like has tower moments in their life. Like there's someone that's like, oh, it's a 12-year cycle. Oh, look, their entire life fell apart again. Oh, look, it's an 8-year cycle. Same karmic theme, which makes the person believe that they can't have love, that it's not going to last. Always waiting for the shoe to drop, never knowing when that shoe is going to drop. So again, fear, overstimulation, root chakra imbalance, connected to again the ancestral karma. Again, whole life. They could be 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. That's a long time. We have to recondition. That's what this person would have. It would be very difficult for you to be in a relationship with them. I'm just saying, but it doesn't mean that they don't have feelings, and we can look and see what their feelings are and whether they will get help. Again, acting like you were just a conquest. Like that's what they feel. But again, that's a lack of intimacy. That's avoidance. Can't go deep. Because if they're going to go deep with you, they have to be able to go deep within themselves. And they can't do that. So doesn't mean that there wasn't passion, but that's how it made you feel. And it really like got you caught up where like you were drowning in your emotions. Like again, because this person acted as if they were like one person and almost became somebody else. And so again, that's the betrayal. And so, but we understand why. And you just had enough. But this card didn't even belong in this deck, but it's like you wound up just having enough of the disrespect because that's what you felt like. You're in, you're out. You're not what you say one thing, then you do another. And then it's like the sporadic, just a lot of like energies that were, didn't make you feel safe. And that's because this person doesn't feel safe within themselves. So again, living in a relaxed, give and take reciprocity relationship that is like one that can actually feed you if you're in a good place where you can become your best self. This is not that. This person, doesn't feel comfortable in that type of environment. They weren't conditioned in that environment. So that's the issue. They wait for the shoe to drop. It gives them anxiety. So commitment's an issue. Fear is an issue. And so you might say again, what the hell is for? Well, forgiveness. I feel like this person needed to ask for forgiveness. They have a hard time with forgiveness. And I feel like you have a hard time with forgiveness too, because again, you grew up in the same types of environment where, look what they do. Look what they do. I have reason. And Spirit says, yes, you do. And God says, yes, you do. But one of the main lessons, the number one spiritual law really is that we have to forgive. Really, I mean, that's every single religion, dogmatic practice talks about that for a reason. Because when we hold on to anger and resentment, because hey, look what you did to my life. You betrayed me. You were supposed to love me. You were supposed to be a sense of support. You were supposed to be that. It's like well, Spirit says, well, it continues to play out. Maybe this person's fragmented. They don't realize that their behaviorisms are in alignment with that trauma. And so they recreate that experience. They don't, no one volunteers to do that. But this is why forgiveness is so important. Forgiveness is important because it allows us to let go. Thank you, Annette. So that's the issue. And it's like, again, self-image. So Spirit saying, did it affect the way that you see yourself? Because understand this person has issues with, again, their self-image. Because they base who they are on the trauma that they've gone through. So again, you say, well, I don't care anymore. It's like, what's the point for me? How do I integrate the spiritual lesson? Because after a while, really, I mean, who cares? I don't want to be rude, but it's like you just need to say again, how is it showing up in my life? And we would know as avoidant, as getting people that are avoidant, as getting people that are fragmented and broken, and they're that means very codependent. That means extremely codependent. That means, someone that's going to like need a nurturer. And then what happens is you're like, yeah, that's who I used to get, but now I'm alone. So where Spirit's like, so that energy is a belief that you can't have it. Understand that's what you've told yourself in order to stay safe. I'm looking for a deck of cards. And of course, like, I was filming over here, so I was using things to prop up my phone. This lady said, use the phone. Okay, so we have to say again, what was it again that created? We can say again, why did you attract this person into your life? And also, what is it that you're supposed to heal and integrate? Because like I said, you wouldn't want this person back. The Spirit's saying again, therapy. The person that needs therapy. It's like because they're just going to betray you. They live from their addictions. They're angry. Is again, but what it really is again, fear. But fear after long periods of time turns into rage. And that affects your DNA. You understand? This is how we turn on and off our DNA. So when you see like spiritual and physical imbalances within the DNA, that's the reason why. Same behaviorism, the ancestral karma is what you inherited. And that's the behaviorism. So let's look and see what Spirit wants to tell us with the inner child wound cards. But sometimes we find gifts. So it's not all the time we find spiritual blocks. I'm just going to pull 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6. And I always like to pull from this deck too. Just 2 cards. 1, and then 2. All right, let's see. There are no mistakes, and that's the beauty of being psychic, because God knows I don't like anything logical. Look at this. Disassociated. Uh, Confusion. Love. Rage. Well, what we got here is, again, water and hope. See, water is associated with our emotions, but our emotions and really the second chakra. It's considered the passion center, the birthing center. So the easiest form of manifestation is to have a baby, right? So it's the same center. It's that passion, but that's where we find balance. So Spirit's saying, again, there was a sense of not being able to really go with the flow of water is flowing, that second chakra was impacted, and that's who you perceive that you were. It's like in that again, so your behaviorism probably was insecure a little bit when you were younger. Then doesn't mean that it's like you didn't master certain things, Spirit's saying. But the second chakra again is, your individuality. We find balance within our individuality, our passion for life. Spirit says, oh, we identify passion with a person, but passion for life allows you to go with the flow of life, because the universe is a rhythm. We can feel it when things are working out. We're like, yay, it's working out. You see, it's working. It's like, I don't know how that just happened. I showed up, and then again, it just happened. When the student is ready to teach her peers, it's just everything falls into place. But when things are out of alignment, it's like we're going against the stream. And we've all had that, especially with spiritual blocks. It's like, oh, nothing's working out. And it can get us into a negative energy, because it's like it's making us perceive that there's something wrong with us. There's something wrong. And Spirit says, see, that's a condition. Someone taught you that. Someone taught you that. You were in an environment that's what the message was to you, and that's what you perceived. So again, it could have been a workplace. Doesn't necessarily mean family, but it's a place where you were conditioned. So again, so life was difficult, and it's again because there's rage here, you see? And rage is not the energy of the universe. Spirit says, no. That's the ego. The ego saying, see, it should have been this way. 1 and 1 makes 2. So, put the dots together and, it creates a line, to logic. And Spirit says that it's so limited, the mind. Spirit says it just knows what it perceives, and that's the life experience. The spiritual mind is unlimited. It's abundant, and you have that. But you're stuck in a perception. Spirit saying that's why there would be rage. I don't like what's happening in this. I don't like my life right now. It's not working. Do you see it's not working? And Spirit says, I see it's not working, but I also see you're focused on the fact that it's not working, because you think that there's something wrong. Well, I'm looking for the answer. Looking for the answer outside of me. And Spirit says, it's inside of you. What do you desire? What are you passionate about? That second chakra is passion. Passion for life. They say Jesus died for your passion for life. That's why they say that in the Christian religion. Passion. But you don't need to be Christian to access Christ consciousness. You just need to evolve into the state of unconditional love. And that is through our passion. We find balance. We can go with the flow. You know why? Because the focus is on our passion. And this is how we connect to the higher self. The higher self is the God part self, where heaven is, unconditional love. We can create heaven on earth by actually grounding and integrating. But we have to have hope. We have to be the energy of love, and you didn't feel love. And we know that because you disassociated. It's like, so this is the energy that imprinted confusion. Love is confusing. It's like, I don't know, I feel like there's something wrong. It's like I'm trying to figure out a puzzle, you see? And no matter what I do, it doesn't seem to work out. I can't seem to, I want a committed relationship. I wind up with people that, they don't know what that is. They don't want that. It's impossible to have it. And spirit says, don't do my job. Don't do my job. Sissica, Diane, Mose, Kate, Annette, Scorpio Love, and everybody else. Don't do my job. Do your job. Be like childlike. Again, to get into the energy of love, we need to embody the consciousness. We need to raise our vibration. Again, that's not focusing on fear. It's focusing on where we want to go, what we want to create. So again, the confusion is that you're not relying on the universe. There's a lack of hope. Because again, I'm not seeing it. And that's just ancestral karma. It's like, well, these people lived through wars, slavery. They lived through persecution, being told there's something wrong with them, that they're not good enough. You're not good enough. You don't have enough. You're not enough. Taking you further and further and further away from you. So Spirit says, get back inside your body, get grounded. Disassociation means, what are you're up in your head? What are you outside? It's like you're outside yourself, watching yourself. That's why there's no emotion. I don't really remember. It was like watching a movie, you see? And it was a little boring in certain parts, so I checked out, but I remember the trauma of what happened. And Spirit says, well, you got to remember all of it. It's like, and understand that you have to embody the full consciousness. Otherwise, you're still holding on to it. You haven't learned. It's like, again, you're not, you haven't learned by what the relationship looked like. Why would you attract that person? Spirit's saying. Well, again, lack of identity, also a lack of being able to forgive. Because again, that's someone came into my life and they did this to me. And Spirit says, yes, they did. But again, what are you going to do with that energy? What am I supposed to do with this energy? And Spirit says, create. Create. Again, when we look at Van Gogh, when we look at all these artists, they're crazy. No, that was their reality. So again, and some of them had pain. But again, and they channeled it into their art. Frida, another one. And I can go on. You don't need to be an artist, however. But you can create your heaven on earth through your passion, through channeling that energy, turning the pain into passion, fear into fire. This person's like stuck in fear because they're like, I'm stuck in the reality, and they keep creating it. And you're like, yeah, and I was the collateral. I was affected. And Spirit says, yes, but that shouldn't be your reality. Your second chakra is off because that's not your identity. And understand when you're living your purpose and like your identity, why you're really here. You're being the expression of love by doing what you love, connecting to people that are going to become your tribe because you're like-minded. It's like we're really not in charge of what happens, except for we're in charge of what we do. And so again, we can choose to stay in the energy of the past, Spirit says, by not knowing how to let go, or we can create a whole new identity. Again, transform, shape shift, again, by becoming a whole new you. And that's by investing in you. The person here needs to, even for yourself, forgive yourself. Your self image is off of how you perceive you. If, again, you're connected to this, there's a lack of feeling loved. The Spirit says the love, you need to give it to yourself as much. And that's in areas of passion, the second chakra, your identity. Is again through that vehicle you meet balanced relationships, but there's also a sense that you're not as close up. And Spirit says attention, and be attentive to all that manifests within you. Like, again, understand that you're also in a process of healing. And so when negativity rises within you, transform it into light. Again, what Spirit's saying, it's like, and that's by reframing it. Understand what happened. What was the situation that happened? The situation that happened could be like, well, that person betrayed me. That person, like, well, how did they betray you? Like, you have to, again, write it down, like, from, again, the experience that you perceived. And now, as you're a little bit older, you can reframe it, and reframe it as, what did you get out of the experience? And understand, a lot of times you might say, I didn't get anything. Well, listen, my mother tried to kill me several times. I can honestly say that that's what I used to say. And Spirit says, no, you are more intuitive. You became more empathetic, more sensitive. You get gifts even from the most miserable experiences. A lot of horrible and horrific marriages created beautiful children. It's like where that child wouldn't have been born, so everything has a gift. Sometimes we're like, well, I could have done without, and Spirit says the whole point is the way that we react to it. When we have judgment, it keeps us in that block. So we have to come from a place of, again, spiritual equilibrium. And we do that by surrendering to, meaning I have no judgment about it. And we are not taught that as a society, that you have to have empathy for yourself. So again, to not judge yourself, that life is not perfect. There is no perfect. Your own identity and individuality and how you channel out love, that's what's perfect, because it's going to bring the perfect experiences to you, for you. So the Spirit's saying, it's like negativity rises within you, transform it into light, love, and hope. Your love for others is unconditional. I forgive. See, it's coming up again. Your desire to improve is constant and firm, brave and hardworking. So Spirit says you're breaking family and generational karma. When, again, you inherit like anger, resentment, again, and that's just by growing up in an environment with angry people. The way that we deal with life and stress, the way that we were taught to see ourselves, because somebody was angry, because someone did that to them. There was no spiritual healing. And we know when a person doesn't heal spiritually, what happens? They project. Everything's a trigger. So again, being raised by parents that were angry, because again, there was no healing and they didn't know, but they weren't emotionally intelligent. We are evolving now as a society, so it wouldn't be uncommon, but we see the effects of the trauma, and the psychic trauma is making you perceive that you're somebody that you're not. So, but understand, I can guarantee that you have more empathy and sensitivity and intuitiveness. And that's the energy of love, because that's the energy of God. And again, we know that through the higher self, it's claircognizance. I don't know how I knew that. I just knew. We have it. It's just we have to get out of our own way. And Spirit says, when you clear the blocks and forgive by forgiving, and that means letting go. And the only way that you can really do that is to create yourself, a version of yourself that you want to create. And that's, saying, well, I want to be a millionaire. Like that's no, there needs to be purpose. It's like, and you might say, well, I don't have anything. You have a computer, you're on it now, or a phone, you're watching, so you can use it to, again, start there. You always start where you are and understand when the student is ready, the teacher appears. When we're seeing support, we're seeing the support because we're seeing the support work through our environment to bring us people, situations, and experience. The universe does that. The universe's plan is better than yours. We're limited due to the experiences. And in this particular moment, Spirit's saying, really limited. It's again because it's like you get in the bare, what is there? There's nothing here, the bare minimum. This is me. It's like life is not good a lot of times when you're connected to someone like this. And Spirit says, why are we even holding on to this? We deserve better than this. God says, I live inside of you, and I said I gave you free will, but this is what we're having. It's like eating like dirt every day. You know what I mean? Broccoli every day. Like some people love broccoli, but it's like, again, a food that you don't like. And that's the only thing that's on the menu. Where Spirit's saying it's like, life is grand. It's what you make it. Don't let the world tell you who you are. It's time to recondition that. And that's what Spirit's saying at this point. And that's done by creating yourself. We're going to pull another one because that was really spot on. But so we want to know, what other advice does the universe have for us to heal this particular situation so that we can, again, become like a better conduit, better magnet to attract like things that are in a higher consciousness, guidance. In times of uncertainty, ask for God to guide you to the light in your being, in your own being, because that's where the higher self is, not outside of you, it's inside of you. Because Spirit said, I told you that the world's corrupt. I told you. That's why I'm telling you, don't let the world tell you who you are. So why would I be outside of you? Does that make sense? I'm going to be outside? No, I'm going to be inside. But I'm going to be inside as the higher self. So in times of certainty, ask God to guide you to the light in your own being. And that's by meditating. Do the ESP Silva Ultramind. Do things that connect you to yourself, every day, especially now. Spirit says, I am directed to doors that will open inner freedom to you, and step forward in trust. Release your faith to God, and your faith is rewarded. So this is what it means by, what we sow is what we reap. This is what it means when we say that, we have to have faith. Faith is a bridge that connects us, so again, you're not going to see it before. And when you're healing the effects of trauma, it means that already how you contributed to the undesirable life experience. But you also realize that maybe there was no experience. The person was just whatever. But then that means that you're holding on to anger and resentment. And that'll turn into rage, and that's bad. Spirit says you got to get rid of that. That's not me, and that's going to cause cancer. That's going to cause other, things within your DNA. Remember that. So again, that's a no-no. And so that means recondition the nervous system, recondition your mind. And you can listen to spiritual material that it'll help you do that. Um, but then it's also spirit saying to embody the new consciousness, because and that might be fearful. Like you might have fearful because that root chakra, remember, is connected to fear and anxiety and like not feeling supported. And spirit saying you have to have faith. It's again, you have to have faith in the universe, that the universe always knows. And that's hard because we weren't taught that way. We were taught to be logical. We were taught to need to control. We need to, and spirit says, no, you need to stop reacting and start listening to the higher self. When you're fearful, you just react. That's what this person does. That's what happens in disassociation. We try to emulate and we react because we're coming from a place of fear. Your spirit says, don't react. This is new experiences. You're creating a new life. This is not the past. That is not who you are. This is who you are. Create yourself. Keep your eye on the prize. Embody the energy of love by doing what you love, by finding what you love. And everybody has that. And if you say, oh, I don't even have the energy to do that, spirit says, then you really need healing, because it means that you don't really even want to invest in yourself. So know that nobody will invest in you until you invest in you. Healing doesn't feel good, especially when you have a root chakra imbalance. It's like, oh, I got to change everything, and ugh. And spirit says, like, ugh. I'd say that every morning. Like spirit says, you were supposed to be on like this morning. What happened? It's like, ugh, it's cold. It's like I was doing other things. And spirit says consistency. Keep your focus. Master your emotions. Don't let your emotions dictate you. That's what'll happen with a person that's disassociated. I just want to feel good. I want to feel safe. It's like in spirit says, safety is a consciousness. And you do that by connecting to me. Look, 2 more fill out. We're going to take them because I don't believe in mistakes. And then we'll wind it down. And any questions you have, you can ask me. All right, let's see what it is. Serenity through love, release, and inner work. See, more inner work. See, I thought maybe we'd get something else, but no. Spirit says no. No, you will know peace. Have a gentle view of life and welcome every step with confidence. Remain brave in the face of fear and have the wisdom to let the universe do its work. See, then it's like, see, spirits like, you're being redundant. You're being redundant, Laura. And it's like, so I'm just going to tell you the same message over and over and over again for these people. And really, in God's hands. And I want you to know there's a lot of other cards in here, like freedom through faith, like positive action, open to the universe, balance, different words, acceptance, vitality, different words. But this is all pretty much the same thing, which is your trust in life is implicit. God's greater knowing and greatest love guides your heart and your choices. And that's again that we're viewing everything through the energy of unconditional love, and that's what's best for everyone. And that's hard to do because a lot of times people don't deserve it, and spirit says don't put yourself in harm's way. However, don't do anything out of anger. Don't do anything out of resentment. Don't do anything, because a lot of times you're not going to get good results from that. But also spirit says faith is steady. Have that your faith needs to be steady and remain true to your light. That means just be true to yourself. It's again, regardless of what people like, they don't like, because when you are in this energy, it means that you're connected to people that aren't really serving you. And that's not to be mean, but it's like, imagine wearing this is what I wore in 7th grade. You know what I mean? You wouldn't wear it. So again, some of the friends are outdated. Some of like people, thoughts, everything. Your thoughts create everything. So everything needs to be in alignment for you to be a magnet to, you know what I mean? If you're a magnet to what everything comes to your life. So people are going to drop out of your life as you evolve and move into a higher state of consciousness. You might say, honey, I don't have anybody. I made sure to get rid of everyone. So again, as you heal, you'll find people just wind up sticking to you like a magnet. And you might be like, I really don't want this friend. Like, because that was me. I know. I was like, I didn't really want one, but I would have friends that just kept showing up. I couldn't get rid of them. It was like every morning, this one girl would call me up at 8 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, first of all, anyone that knows me knows that I don't get up early. So I'm like, 8 o'clock in the morning, and she was like, hi, like, and everything, like, and I would hint to her, like, I really don't have time. I really didn't care, didn't care. And she also, this same person sent me all of her friends, and she's friends with everybody in the community, everybody. So the spirit says, see, you are like, so like, I was like, oh, I don't want to be friends. People always like, they nag me for like readings, and it's not really a friendship, you know? So it's like, I was like, especially since I met her through giving her a reading. And so Spirit said, see, all the time looking at it through that limited lens. I don't want to be friends with anyone. They always like to, when this person brought you a lot, and they were good friends. And Spirit says, see, it's like learning again, where I wouldn't have volunteered, but because of my job and what I love to do, I was like, all right, I'll like change a little bit. Like I'll give you a little bit, you know? And Spirit's like, God, your heart's closed. And it was like my heart was closed. It's like trust. It's like, yeah, you got to prove it to me. You got to jump through some hoops. You know, and Spirit says, this is what it looks like. And then when it's done to me, I'm like, I'm sensitive. I don't like it. And Spirit says, yeah, so that's the way it looks. So why wouldn't it hurt that person that you just did it to? We have to learn. And it means to stop trying to control. Again, put it in God's hands. Have faith. Remain true to your light. Everything unfolds according to God's will. That everything's in divine order. And say, no, that wasn't. Spirit says, that's not heaven. It's like you create heaven through your mind, but you again have to integrate. And everything here was said nothing about you getting into a relationship right now. It said everything about you healing right now, and healing through again creating yourself in the right time. Spirit will bring you the right person, and you'll know because you'll be in a different place within your mind. It's intuitive. It's the spirit, but a lot of you haven't been by yourself long enough. You've been caught up in outside people as a way to avoid. The spirit said, oh, I'm going to bring you someone that's avoidant. This is what it looks like. He said, why did you bring me that person that's avoidant? Spirit says, because you avoid what's going on inside of us. So again, I gave you free will, but then ignore me? All right. The universe doesn't like that, though. You're going to get that back in a person that you want to like, no, I want to have a serious connection. I feel like they don't talk. They're not intimate. They're not transparent. And Spirit says, oh, the pot's calling the kettle black. You know, put it in God's hands. Understand it's all happening in divine time, that you're always able to heal. And right now, this is where you are, but it's not a forever space. That's what Spirit's saying. It's not a forever space. Take the time to do it so that you recognize when a person comes into your life and they're not really offering that much, or that because that's really what it is. You can tell when a person has a closed heart, and then you don't feed it. Don't try and change it. Don't try and fix it, because that's a sign that Spirit's saying, oh, well, you're avoiding. Again, why would you want to fix that person? If you were winning the lottery and gave millions of dollars and you're like, I got the best life on earth, do you think that you're going to sit there and babysit? No. I want to go on my yacht, travel around and go to New Mexico and meet Juan, maybe, and sip some cocktails on the beach. Or maybe you want to, go to the Antarctic in your yacht and meet Caroline, the snow bunny. You know what I mean? No, that's what is again that you're creating your heaven on earth. It's like you wouldn't want to do that, spirit saying. So the avoidance is the pot calling the kettle black, spirit saying, and it's time to pay up. I'm tired. And that's why I brought you that person. That's why they look like that. It's like, because it's like, well, that's a horrible person that you brought me. And spirit says, yeah, but that's how I feel. And so you have to heal it, and you can do that, but it's only going to be for a limited time. All right. Does anyone have any questions? Anyone? Any takers? No? All right. Well, I am going to head out. Thank you for sharing your energy with me today. I love you guys. You guys rock. Check out my description box. Hey, I have a lot of free resources on my website too for those of you that want healing. I wrote a lot of blogs. And listen, I don't like to write, so read the blogs. All right? I do a TV show. Check out that. And if you're connected to a Virgo, check out my Virgo channel. All right? I am going to take off. But you know the deal. Be true to you. Remember, the kingdom of heaven's inside of you. If you can imagine it, create it. Think positive thoughts. Will your financial blocks clear soon? Financial blocks help when money has no energy except the energy that you're giving it. So again, until you change your mind about money. See, money is more like a connection to your identity, believe it or not, when we don't really know who we are and we don't really know what we like. Think about this. You ever see those kids, those people that grew up rather, that said, "Oh, I always wanted to do this when I was a kid." Like people said, like, I always imagined, people that don't grow up in trauma, they are in their imagination. It's like they do what they love. They had time to do what they love. So they cultivated themselves. They became themselves. Mastery comes in doing. When you look at a piano player, a pianist, like, how did they get so good if they spent all day and all night, every free waking moment, doing what they loved? And so when we look at children, that there's a kid that actually makes like clothes. I think he's like 6, 7 years old, and he literally made a coat for Sharon Stone, right? Like he has to go to kindergarten. He has to do other things. His parents make him do other things, but every free waking moment, that's what that kid does. So when he's grown up, he's going to be a world famous designer, charging millions of dollars for his coat or whatever else he makes, because he imagined it. He was in the body embodying it. It's how much love we put into something. So you're looking at money as money. And as long as you look at money as, when the money blocks, there's fear, because it's, well, I'm not enough. See, again, I went to the job and it's this. It's like they tell me I need to have this, I need to have that, I need to have the other. Oh, I saw there was 80 other people that went for the job. I saw what they looked like. They looked at me like I didn't really even know how to answer the question. It was anxiety. So again, that energy is going to push money away. It's gonna push money away. So you could say, well, then fuck. Do I just stay like this? Spirit says, no. What it means is that as you begin to work on yourself, even if you worked on yourself, just helping yourself, the universe would bring you other vehicles of money, because there's a disconnect from support, Amy. It's like support because, hey, that's the way that you grew up. Hey, that's, again, I had to figure it out and it's still not working. And it's like, and so Spirit's saying, it's like, because you aren't allowed to, again, create yourself. And so creating yourself is just pouring into things that you love. And there's a sense of, I don't really know what that is. Then you need to book a reading, because it's like the soul's reading. And don't say, oh, I need money. Well, you have to invest in yourself, unfortunately. And that's what it is. That when they say it takes money to make money, right? So it's not that you have to pay like for the basic information, but when it's tailored to you, you do, because you have to it's a step-by-step protocol of what you have to do based on your spiritual blocks and the habits and behaviorisms that you form due to those blocks, and then the healing protocols that you need to heal. And then there's step by step on how to embody whatever it is that you're trying to do. So the reading is always like has your soul's path in it, a specific soul's path. What is it? It's like, because not knowing what it is, you'll fall prey to the outside world. And the outside world is tells you who you are. So when there's a disconnect of saying, I don't really know, and money is hard, it's for all those reasons. Now, it doesn't mean that you can never get a job, but money will always be like, ugh. It's like, I thought that the job was going to be good, but then I liked it, but then there was like I'm still not satisfied, or it's like, or it's not enough money. There's always like an imbalance with it, and that's, again, you have to change your mindset. So for you, Amy, I would say listen to Think and Grow Rich, if you don't believe me, by Napoleon Hill, and you can find that, I'm sure, through YouTube. And so that will help you to look at money a little bit differently, to help you heal your money blocks, because it's again, we heal our money blocks through changing the way that we view money, first of all. And we can't do that if we're still stuck in, well, this is what I remember. I grew up in a family, and believe me, I know this because I grew up in a family where if I heard once from my mother, I heard it a million times. There's never enough money. There's never enough time. There's never enough money. There's never enough time. But guess what? There was enough money. You just bought cigarettes every day, and daddy bought beer and alcohol every day. So their habits were in alignment with, again, not living their best life, right? I mean, that's suppression. That's avoidance and suppression that we have going on right there. And so, and that's a lot of wasted time, because you're up in your head. It means you're ruminating. You're not creating life when you're in that energy. So there is actually enough energy, like there actually is enough time, and money has no energy at all. So it's how much you're doing, how much you're embodying, what are you pouring love into? The currency of money is actually the same as love. It's not that you need to love money. However, you need to look at money as if it is, a constant energy of give and take, but that you want to utilize most of it to channel it towards what you love, what you want to create. And so that means you have to invest in yourself. So financial blocks won't really clear until you do that fully. Will you get a better job? Yeah, eventually, but it's like, will it fulfill you? No. The imbalance will always be one or the other. And that's because that's what it is. And that's, unfortunately, that's what you see on the planet right now, that there's a lot of people that have money blocks. They have money blocks because they're trying to figure it out, where someone else is telling them instead of them finding it. And so again, we really have to shift into the energy of like spiritual laws, understanding spiritual laws and the secret, and living life through that. And understand, if you grew up with parents that were traumatized, that you didn't grow up that way. I mean, I was raised by someone that, my dad even, who was very loving and very kind, he was very negative. He was like, oh, why are you going to do that for? That'll never work. Yeah, it's very hard to be a photographer. Be anyone in the art industry doesn't make it. That's not true. If you put your mind towards it and you put your energy towards it, you can make a lot of money. But he was thinking, you're going to work for somebody. It's going to be, why do I have to work for somebody? It's like, because what's safe. It was what was safe. But what was safe is boring and will stagnate the spirit. Ships in the harbor are nice, but that's not what they're made for. We're supposed to be passion, the expressions of love. And then when you are that way, there's no problem with money. And then also, you know, you're never lonely and you're able to see who else is in that energy and where and who's not. What's a facade? What's a lie? What's an illusion? So Spirit says, don't worry, everyone gets the story of who they think they are. Then there's the real story of who they truly are. And the reason why is for the universe's glory, for spiritual glory, so that when everyone else has judgments on you for perceiving you a certain way, the universe shows them something else. And Spirit says, projection makes people look at themselves, and a lot of times they're not going to like it, but it'll be okay because you will be in a different energy, attracted to different people and situations that are going to be more fulfilling. And that's how we evolve. That's how we learn, and that's why we're down here. All right, I'm really going now. I hope that answered your question. I'm sorry, Amy. I wish I could say it was going to be tomorrow. A job, yes, but money blocks, no. All right, bye.